Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of T&D Won't Shut Up,
where we discuss and debate relationship topics from a healthy couple's perspective.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel for weekly discussions and share with a friend or two,
or three,
or four,
or five,
or six, or seven, or eight, or nine.
How you doing, baby?
I am doing pretty well, baby. Happy Cinco de Mayo, y'all.
Yes.
We started early, recording early so that we can hit the streets.
Still got to buy sombreros.
Oh, yeah, we still got to go and buy sombreros. And we're going to celebrate. So it's going to be a good day. How are you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, baby. Actually been kind of relaxed this last 2 days.
Yeah.
When usually we get into our weekends pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But today we'll make up for it.
Yeah. So we for the streets today.
Yep.
Anyways, what are we talking about today, Bookie Books?
So today we'll be discussing Season 1, Episode 3, IDK about IRL, which is I don't know about in real life.
Yeah.
And that became pretty evident in this episode.
Yeah. So it was a really good episode, y'all. But before we get started, let's talk about this giveaway that's still going on. A never-ending giveaway. So remember, we are having a giveaway for a $100 Amazon gift card. Super duper easy to enter. All you have to do be subscribe to our channel, comment your Instagram below in the comment section. For every video that you comment on, even our old videos, that'll be an additional entry into the drawing. In addition to that, you follow our Instagram at tnd.won'tshutup, and that's also an additional entry. So let's get it, y'all.
Let's get it.
Instructions will be down below and on the screen right now. So let's go ahead and get started, baby.
All right.
So the episode starts with Shay and Josh waking up in the boom boom room. Clearly got some boom boom in last night. He was smitten. He was smiling. He loves him some Shay. And they actually look very cute together, but I'm still getting like surface from them. I think that it's a sexual thing right now. That's what I'm getting from them. I don't know how long term this thing is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also have already heard some things that Josh has mentioned in regards to other couples that doesn't sound like it's coming from a very healthy place.
Yeah, so I don't know about them too
but
much.
but what I'm seeing between them two though is great as of this point.
As of this point, they look very happy. I can't say healthy yet, but very happy, very content, and very satisfied with each other. And they seem like they're having a lot of sex. They woke up in the boom boom room together, so I'm sure they were boom boom booming last night. And then the little sidebar that Chris and Sandia, he says that he's not able to keep up with his normal routine here, basically how he eats, how he exercises. But Sandia basically tried to give him some encouraging words, I would say.
Just telling him he could do some calisthenics, push-ups, there's different type of things that you could do. You don't need to be hitting the weight room.
Yeah, so that's basically it. I don't like him.
But even in that exchange, he's very short with her, kind of dismissed her suggestions. I do not like his character so far. And I don't like the way that he treats her.
Yeah.
Because she seems very genuine in what she's doing and what she's saying, but he just kind of shuts her down.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But she's like overly nice, and sometimes those kind of people get ran over. Like the people like with the personality like Chris will run over Sandia. Absolutely. Because she's so meek, mild-mannered. So he's just going to take advantage of her. In the next scene, Aaron Sr. and Diamond calls Sienna and Brandon out to the patio just to have a little discussion because they're not doing so well, obviously. So as the counselors and the old elders in the house, they decide to bring them out to have a discussion. Go ahead, baby. Talk about that.
Yeah, so Aaron Sr., he asks both Sienna and Brandon what they're trying to establish.
That was a good question.
Yeah, it was. And, Sienna said that she's trying to, establish the romance within their relationship. Maybe when they were talking virtually, they were kikiing about basic stuff, but now, you're trying to transition into more of a romantic relationship. And apparently she's struggling with that. Brandon said that he's trying to establish communication. And I'm with Brandon on this. I mean, that's the first thing. Forget romance. They can't even have a conversation without arguing.
Right.
And so that's what needs to be established, in my opinion. But in the process of him even saying that communication needs to be established, Sienna's already cutting him off, telling him that they have great communication.
Yeah. And, Yeah. She has no respect for this man.
No respect whatsoever. So it started getting so ridiculous with her cutting him off that Aaron Sr. had to, I guess, give an object to each of them and say, okay, when you're holding this, then you can talk. And even that failed. So even without the object, she's still talking, and they had to remind her that she doesn't have the object. And then also Sienna, she said that she was a little bit upset during that scene when they were at the pool table because Brandon was kind of laughing about certain things that she was saying. And I think she was just misinterpreting the way that Brandon communicates. He does tend to always have this smile on his face. Yeah, so I know some people like this that, when they're being confronted with a situation, that energy is translated into more of a smile or kind of just laughing. It's not a laugh at the situation. It's just that's how they convey it physically. And of course, Sienna, she's so off the chain. She couldn't even recognize that he's clearly not laughing at her.
Yeah, she was trying to pull up excuses so she could justify her behavior, but no, ma'am.
And then Sienna was saying that, she does need to, now that she understands that he has this nervous type energy and that's what he does, that he needs to recognize that she has a flair for the dramatic and that this is something that, he's just going to need to accept or leave. So, that tells you right there, just that little brief conversation there, it basically encapsulated everything that's wrong with this relationship. Right. No communication. She's cutting him off. She will emasculate this man. She dismisses this man, doesn't respect him, and then just basically says at the end, take it or leave it, right? This is who I am, and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, that's the end of that relationship right there, from beginning to end.
This is a recipe for disaster, and it just needs to end. Like, there's no counseling. There's nothing that's going to fix this. Some people are just not meant to be. They are not compatible, and just need to let it go. Yeah. That's it. I think that's the best thing for them. Now, my question is, are they allowed to leave the house if they realize they're not compatible?
That I don't know.
Because if I was him, he should have left when she called him a B.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, y'all, on to the next. Yeah. All right, y'all. So in the next scenes, just a few sidebars. They're talking about, the couples are talking about what they were overhearing between Sienna and Brandon, Aaron Sr. and Diamond's conversation. And, just basically sharing their opinions about them and that they're not, some of them are like, they're just not even friends, or some of them say the friendship isn't even there. They need to work on that. And the sidebar goes over to Sienna and Brandon. They're on their corner talking about, they need to spend some alone time together. And Brandon hints at going into the boom boom room. And he says that Josh and Shay is always in the boom boom room. And Sienna was like, we need to make reservations. But they do not need to be in nobody's boom boom room. They need to be boom booming out of here. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then...
they're not friends.
They are.
Right? And I don't think they can be friends. She's already started disrespecting him, calling him out his name. Who would want to be a friend with a person like that?
Yeah, it's just not meant to be. And I feel like the advice that they're giving them is for them to keep trying. No trying. Some people are just not to be, and these are prime examples. Stop. Go home.
I agree. All right, in the next scene, there's a little sidebar with Aaron Sr. and Greg, and they bring up Jody and Aaron Jr.'s relationship. And I think we all know the dynamic is off between them. I think Greg ended up saying that there was no cohesiveness between the two. It was like two dead batteries together.
With no spark.
No spark at all. And it is so true. I mean, there has been not a drop of positive energy between the two of them.
Or nothing.
Nothing. No connection.
Not even friends. Absolutely nothing there.
Yeah. And then Josh comes in and... Greg called him Mr. Boom Boom, I think, right?
Mr. Boom Boom Room.
Mr. Boom Boom Room. Yeah, and Greg had mentioned that he don't think he's ever going to get in the Boom Boom Room, and I'm already sensing some thirsty energy from this dude Greg, but we'll continue on to see. But Greg can get into the Boom Boom Room, in my opinion. He just needs to slow his roll a little
bit. I agree.
Yeah.
Don't come off too desperate and thirsty. But guess who else joined the conversation? A B. A B joined the conversation and ran Josh off. And that would have been me too. Yeah. I would have been running out of there. he ran off with the food.
They clearly enhanced the sound of that damn beat during editing, though.
We should put in this. I hope I can find a B sound effect so I can add to this, because I hate the B sound. I was so annoyed. I don't blame him for leaving. Right. All right, y'all. In the next scene, it is dinner time. We got Sienna and Brandon in the kitchen throwing down. The food actually looks pretty good, and they were tasting at the stove. And then he licked his finger. Absolutely not. But he did wear gloves when serving, so hopefully he ain't touched nobody's food. But the food looks really good. Like they was bonding. It was a cute time. Yeah, I really hope that they could last like that, but clearly they can't. Yeah. And then Diamond gets up and mentioned that there is a game that they're going to play. It's kind of like superlatives in the yearbook. Somebody mentioned that. And it's like, who's the most likely to succeed? Who's the most likely to do this? So she asked the first question. And the first question was?
She asked, who is the most dramatic?
And we all know who that was.
We know who that is.
And they even voted for themselves. The answer was everybody. It was 12 out of 12. 12 votes. And it was Sienna and Brandon. And then they asked Chris. What did they ask Chris? Why did he vote them?
Yeah, why did he vote them?
Yeah. And what did he say, baby?
And no, he just said that, Sienna, basically pointing Sienna out is the problem, saying that she needs to calm down, that she just comes at him too aggressively. Basically what we all have observed ourselves.
Yeah, but I feel like Chris is the one that's giving him the most realistic advice.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, everybody else is trying to make them work.
All right, so next question is, which couples would benefit from couples therapy? Of course, the majority said Sienna and Brandon, but Aaron Sr. ended up picking Jody and Aaron Jr. And then Diamond had asked Aaron Sr. why did he choose different? And he said that, he felt that Jody and Aaron Jr., that they're kind of the least connected, that there has been no intimacy between the two since the beginning. They haven't really seen them together like that. Mm-hmm. And Jody, she got really defensive immediately. She said she looks around the house, everybody's up under each other. And she said that she doesn't feel that she needs to be face to face with Aaron Jr. to show, her interests. She said that she doesn't want to have any pressure added to the situation, that they had a connection virtually, and that they're just kind of moving at their own pace. First of all, I'm calling BS on that.
Yeah.
Okay. When the majority of people are observing something, 9 times out of 10, there's something there.
Right.
She's clearly getting into a defensive posture, and then she's also deflecting a little bit. Also, what was surprising is that instead of Aaron Jr. kind of co-signing, and I get it, he doesn't want to completely co-sign because he don't want to have an argument with her. He wants to show that he's supporting her. He actually starts to rationalize himself, saying, oh, well, I know couples that, don't even live together and they're still able to, be together. Almost trying to justify, what she was saying. And clearly he's bothered by this.
Everybody was rolling their eyes.
Everybody rolling their eyes. And, and he knows this is a problem himself. He's already visibly shown that, he probably is uncomfortable with the situation. But I guess he felt that he, had to support her in that.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. And y'all, let's address this elephant in the room. This man is not straight. I'm sorry, baby. I know you don't want to question his sexuality, but everything, body language, demeanor. All right.
No comment.
On to the next. All right, so the next question was, which couple is the most romantic? Everyone chose Shay and Josh, which I pretty much agree.
Yeah.
They really are connecting. So I will say that. Yeah. And then Jody said Chris and Sandia, which we all know Chris and Sandia does not appear to be the most romantic, but
and not only that, she said that Chris is a hopeless romantic. Where is she getting that from?
Well, maybe she's seeing something that we don't, or maybe they're having a conversation and he's telling her these things.
They must be.
I do not see that with him and Sandia. And when she is saying that, Chris appears extremely smitten. He was smiling, teeth, gums, all out. And then
and Sandia, I think she observed that too, and she was very bothered by it.
Yeah. So what did Aaron say, baby? What did Aaron think about them?
So Aaron was basically pointing out that, he keeps observing Jody giving compliments to Chris, that then Millie ended up saying that, everything that they say to each other results in them laughing at one another. Yeah. And you can see with Sandia's facial gestures, clearly she's bothered by this. Yeah. And it'd be one thing if it was just Jody, showing love to Chris, but Chris is kind of returning it, reciprocating it, a bit flattered by it. And that's very disrespectful to Sandia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed like they probably would go home together.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the next question was,
which couple is most in need of the boom room?
Yeah, which couple is most in need of the boom room? And most people agreed that Greg and Millie is in need of the boom room, which I don't know if I agree with that too much.
I don't. I think they have. They seem connected, and I think everyone's observing that. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be any dysfunction, and they're a good-looking couple. So I think people might be saying it for that reason.
Yeah, but there's clearly some detachment or lack of. There's something off, right, baby?
Yeah, something's off.
Exactly. We'll keep talking about that when they have their own scene. Then they asked who's the least compatible. Everybody agreed. Brandon and Sienna.
Yeah. And Greg called Brandon out, saying that maybe Sienna needs someone with a backbone that's willing to challenge her.
Right, and I disagree with that.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I do agree with the fact that he doesn't seem to have a backbone. But I don't agree that even if he had a backbone, that he should be going back and forth with a woman like Sienna.
Yes.
But he should, I believe a man should hold his ground to a point. I feel like he can easily be walked over. That's what I'm getting from him.
But that is not the real problem in this is Sienna.
Correct.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. That's a separate issue that Brandon needs to work.
Exactly. I believe that if Sienna even have a man with a backbone,
all hell's breaking loose.
It's all hell's breaking loose. And if she have a man will creep up to her level, it's gonna be a fight. Exactly. So the Sienna needs to be on her own, out with the wolves or something. And then the last question was which couple? Oh no, that's not the last question. Which couple argued the most? It was Brandon and Sienna. And then which is the most toxic? Sienna put the card on her forehead. It said Brandon and Sienna. So they also agree that they're the most toxic. Yeah. They voted for themselves.
And you know what was interesting too is after getting called out for almost every question, Sienna still made a statement like, man, I guess I gotta, look at myself because I didn't see this as all being an issue. Like, I didn't see us as having this many problems. I'm like, what are you seeing? So but we know a woman like Sienna is doing no self-reflection. And she doesn't have self-awareness either.
Yeah.
So how could you possibly be called out by everyone on these particular issues and not have a clue that you're doing these things?
Right. She's totally off. I don't think Sienna is mentally there all the way.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Miss Taronda came in and she basically tells everyone that the family is coming, and this week is starting off with Sienna's friend and Brendan's friend or family, something like that.
Yes,
is coming to visit. All right, so in the next scene we have all the couples sitting around playing charades. Seemed like they were having a good time. Sandia goes first, and Chris tells her not to choose a Haitian artist because nobody's gonna know who she talking about. So she does this move where she's kind of holding her crotch and saying yo yo yo, and it supposedly is Kevin Hart, which I didn't get it, but whatever. So then the doorbell rings. And in comes Matt with the bang.
Yeah, he just tripping with the bangs.
Matt is Brandon's bestie since the third grade, and he popped up with some bangs, y'all. He had the bangs brushed forward. I don't know if he's losing hair and he decided to brush the bangs forward, or he just wanted to look a little bit like, I don't know.
I'll just say bangs are just not a good look. Period.
That was not a good look.
So it doesn't help if you're bald behind it.
Yeah, so I think that he should just
let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Them bangs. Yeah, he came with the bangs. Anyways, what's happened next, baby?
No, so, basically he asked Brandon, how are things going? And, Brandon pointed out the obvious. The ups and downs with Sienna, although I see much more downs. But that they're having major communications issues. He also pointed out that he's been called a B. and Matt was a little surprised by that, so that tells me that, this truly is a first time experience for Brandon. And that was pretty much it. On to the next.
So in the next scene, we have Diamond and Aaron Sr., and then we have Josh and
Shay
and Josh. They're all sitting outside, and then Diamond asks him about marriage. She asks them about marriage, and he basically says that, they talked about marriage and they see themselves getting married eventually. And then Diamond also brings up that he had a baby on her, and I'm like, duh. That don't make. Are y'all surprised?
It's a 12-year relationship
that they never seen each other in person. So that's just a pen pal, a 12-year pen pal.
Exactly. And Josh kind of wrote it off as, well, it was a roommate situation. Things happen. I'm like, things don't just happen. You don't just pop out a kid. So, clearly, he was cheating, I guess. But then I'm like, damn, how could you cheat if you're with somebody for 12 years and you don't see them? So I guess I'd have to understand what the ground rules were for that 12-year period.
Exactly, because she had to know that this man was going to have sex with someone else, and she had to have had sex with someone else. They met when they were like, she was 18 and he was like maybe 20, so what you expect? They were just not going to have a sexual experience with other people. So I'm sure that the ground rules were a little loose, right? Maybe
I think so,
but a little laxed, shall I say?
Yeah, but apparently, the fact that Josh communicated that to Shay immediately, as opposed to after the kid was born or something like that. I guess Shay felt good about that. Maybe because they had open communication. All right, so in the next scene, we got Sienna's girlfriend. I guess they've been friends for 5 years. She's from the Bronx. She's single, just like Sienna, so they got some things in common. She asked Sienna how things are going. And, right out the gate, Sienna, in my opinion, start placing the blame squarely on Brandon. So she pointed out that, when it came to their differences, that Brandon ended up talking to another woman in the house, of course, giving no context, and also not even pointing out the fact that she was talking to another man about the issues.
They were both doing the same thing.
And then she also brought up that during the Kama Sutra game, when Brandon, said that he was bored, she didn't explain that, she picked the position where she wasn't intimate with Brandon. She also wasn't giving off an energy that would make Brandon be into the whole experience. It was like everything was deflecting onto Brandon.
Yeah.
And what I also didn't like about this dialogue is that her friend was essentially co-signing on every single thing that she was saying, not asking some more pointed questions, trying to get the other perspective. We all know when you talk to someone, you get in one side of the story.
Right.
And I gotta believe that this is her girlfriend, so she knows how emotional and maybe dramatic Sienna could be.
And she know how off-putting that could be to men, and off-putting that can be in relationships, period. And I think it's important that she can call that out, She could say, nobody's going to respond to you with your attitudes. Nobody's going to respond to you with your antics and your dramatics. And, but instead she just co-signed and agreed with her. And basically, she's not I'm not going to say a good friend, but she's not the friend that's going to tell you straight up. Everyone needs that friend that's going to put you in your place and tell you how it is, and she's not that. She's just going to continue to co-sign, and Sienna's not going to change or see her faults because she got someone to kind of co-sign.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But apparently Sienna believes that they, still could work this through. Her girlfriend was, asking her to test out the soul pole. It's like, to me, that's some real simplified talk right there. Like, come on. That's going to just exacerbate the issue here. I honestly think they shouldn't even be together, let alone going to the boom boom room and introducing that dynamic into the relationship.
I agree.
So,
but yeah, and then the guys come in while they're talking with the bangs, but they come in, and then what did Brandon say, baby? He started screaming or did some kind of weird noise.
He did something weird.
He pretended he was crying. And Sienna got annoyed. And she was like, and he just can't be serious. And she kind of got annoyed by it. And then they basically all left, right?
Yep.
Nothing else to say about that, but they all basically went their separate ways. And what I did not like about this scene, I don't feel that they were able to meet each other's partners. You know, all this could have been done on the phone if they weren't going to talk to the partners, right? And get the partner's perspective, because this was a chance for Brandon to sit down with Sienna's friend and Sienna to sit down with Brandon's friend and just kind of get to know them, and then all sit down together, maybe have a drink, eat, talk. But yeah, there was no dialogue between the group, and I did not feel that brought any other perspective into the relationship.
I agree.
Right? Yep. That's basically it. In the next scene, it's a little short scene where you see Aaron Sr. and Diamond in the pool, and she was like, how much do you love me? And he was like, I love you so much, I want to marry you. They just come off a little juvenile, right?
They do.
And then there's another scene where Diamond is talking to her daughter. It's nice to see that she has a good relationship with her daughter. The daughter's very beautiful. They kind of look alike. Seem like they got a very strong relationship and a strong bond, so I like that. And that's basically it.
All right, so in the next scene, Greg and Millie, they're in a hot tub together, doing their thing. They're actually being pretty intimate, kind of flirting. And I think, Millie was kind of, had her back towards
backing that ass up.
Greg, backing that booty on him. So everything was going well, but we had mentioned this earlier, it's something about Greg giving off that thirsty energy.
Right.
And so where he could have just let things flow and progress naturally, he felt like he needed to start kissing her. And even if you wanted to do that, right? Let me give him the benefit of the doubt that's his approach. Well, do it in a sensual way.
Yeah.
My man starts kissing her. He's like pushing forward. Then he goes and reaches in for her neck. I mean, he's not taking into account her energy at all.
And the first initial kiss, she turned her head.
She turned her head, and that's it. That's where you just slow it down, bro.
Yeah, he got so excited. Like, and she was just like,
huge turn off. And I was actually a bit surprised because, prior to this, I think he was moving kind of in a calculated way, and they're both attractive people, right? So you don't think that either one of them need to be in that thirsty mode. But at the end of the day, if that's how a man moves, that's how he moves.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't correct this ASAP, he gonna lose her. She's probably very turned off right now.
Yeah, and she's very turned off.
Yeah.
She also talked about it with the ladies in the bed, remember? And she said that she just wished that it would have been a little bit more organic. She said he snuck a kiss in, and she said she was a little turned off by it because he just kind of came at her. He didn't kind of merge in properly. He didn't say anything sexy. It was just we're just having a conversation and let me kiss you. So just a little strange. And Millie did not like that at all. I think she was kind of turned off, and she felt like he was a bit thirsty, and that's not a good look. That's not a good feeling for the lady, and it's just not a good look for the man. And I think that's gonna put you even further away from the boom boom room, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he did mention recently how in a previous scene how he don't know if he's ever gonna get in the boom boom room with her. So you could tell sex is heavy on his mind for some reason. So I think he really took some steps back here, and I'd actually be surprised if they hit the boom boom room anytime soon.
She won't. They won't.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. All right. So in the next scene, we have Aaron Sr. and Diamond decides to go into the boom boom room, and we also have a sidebar conversation with the group and they're making drinks. So we're just gonna do one at a time. So we're gonna talk about Aaron and Diamond in the boom boom room.
Right.
What do you think about that, honey?
Yeah, so Aaron and Diamond head over to the boom boom room. And, Diamond was pointing out that, she's going to, hold herself until marriage, right? So we know that they're not really going to go all the way in there. But Aaron Sr. is, right out the gate giving me vibes that he's going to do everything but sex, including sucking them toes and whatever else.
Yeah, I just don't really understand when people say that. To me, I feel like when you're trying to save sex for marriage, I think that's all. To honor God, that's everything. That means anything sexual. Am I right?
I really don't want to bring spirituality into this because I have all different type of views when it comes to stuff like this. I'll respect what she's saying. I personally disagree with that type of approach. I'm entitled to that. But if that's what you're going to do, I would argue you probably shouldn't be going to the boom boom room doing this kind of stuff, because this might have you slipping up.
Exactly.
But anyway, so Aaron gets in there. They first have a little brief discussion about the conversation that the whole group had.
And they just nosy as hell. Like, why are they even talking about the other couples when y'all supposed to be having an intimate moment? Like, why are you talking about other couples in the room?
Right.
It was a little off.
It was off. But Diamond had asked Aaron what did he think about the game, and then Aaron Sr. said that he thought people weren't really being truthful. And that he also felt like Chris and Jody really want to be together. And I think we're starting to see some things between them.
It was actually Diamond who said that. She thinks Jody really wants Chris.
That's right.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. But then Aaron proceeded to start sucking them toes, licking his lips, and let's not ignore the fact that my man had, nail polish on. Yeah. What do you have, black and green?
Black and blue. I don't know, but both Aarons are, I don't know.
He giving me some old man pervert vibes.
Yes.
But, whatever. They seem like they're connected, so I don't want to, criticize them, right? They're not having any issues right now, and it seemed like they're genuinely into one another. They
do. All right, so one of the next the other sidebar was the couples, all the couples together. It was like Chris, Sandia, Jody, Aaron Jr., Brandon, and they were all making drinks, shaking it up. And then Chris mentioned cheers or toast to Brandon. He's like, Brandon is one of my favorite people here. And he said, and so are you, to Jody. So then the camera pans over to Sandia, and of course she looks a little shady. Mm-hmm. And then he continues to talk about Jody, their connection. He's like, some people you just click with, and I just feel like we click.
Yeah, like some things don't even have to be said. We're just on the same page. Yeah. I mean, but he was just pouring it on, though. It was getting a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
And clearly Sandia was upset with that.
Yeah, she did not like that.
Yeah.
And also, that's when, what's his name?
Yeah, that's when Aaron Jr., he basically has his eyes closed, just like probably completely frustrated at the fact that the girl that he's into is just smitten over Chris. It's like every time Chris says something, her eyes open up,
And even her energy, she's just so much happier and nicer to Chris. She's so rude to Aaron Jr.
Yeah.
So the other piece is when Aaron, the other part we see Aaron, she offers Aaron a drink.
Yeah, because Aaron's not a drinker, so I guess he's just drinking water. And then she offers him a drink. But I think he misinterpreted it like, oh, okay, so he could have a little sip of her drink. Apparently that's not what she meant, because he ended up having a full glass given to him. But he didn't want the full glass. He thought it was an invitation, but man, she shut him all the way down, calling him a 6-year-old or that. There's just no respect there.
None whatsoever. And he just seems like afraid of her, kind of, right? Yeah, it's just very odd. She's so rude to him. And I actually felt bad for him in that scene because he did look like a little 6-year-old. And he was like trying to explain himself, saying like, I thought it was an invitation, but maybe I misinterpreted. And
But in addition to the disrespect, I mean, she's just showing her character.
Yeah.
And I don't find her to have an attractive personality whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just her demeanor and just the way that she is treating him and how she's clearly disrespecting not only him but also Sandia with the way he's interacting with Chris. That says a lot about who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she only does that because Chris does that to Sandia as well. So she's basically doing what he's allowing,
So maybe they are two pieces.
Because if there was any respect between Chris and Sandia, she wouldn't have done that. She would not have done that. But Chris talked to her like that in front of Sandia, so she feels that she has the green light.
Right. And then, of course, Sandia is kind of passive in her demeanor, so she's definitely not going to shut Jody down in any way. All right, so the next scene, Sienna and Shay, they're up in the bedroom, and they're just, having girl talk. And Sienna asked Shay, what kind of wedding does she think she wants? And Shay was saying that she has a small family, so she envisions a medium-sized wedding. I think Sienna said the same kind of thing. And then Sienna asked Shay what she thought about the Kama Sutra game. Mm-hmm. And Sienna said it was really fast, that she just couldn't get warmed up, couldn't get into it. Of course, Brandon, he had said that he was bored in that Kama Sutra position. And I guess it didn't really affect her at that time, which I'm actually quite surprised. Yeah. But apparently I guess when she thought about it again, it really started to eat at her a little bit.
Yeah, she felt like it was a jab thrown at her.
Yes, and with her, as soon as something's festering in her mind, it's a guaranteed blow up. Mm-hmm. You already know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then Brandon ends up walking into the room.
Yeah.
And Shay, I think she did the right thing. She found a way to quickly exit the situation because I think she already knew where it was going to go.
Yeah, they're not positive energy. It's like somebody you don't really want to be around. It's probably going to be an argument, and then you get thrown into the argument.
Exactly. And another thing that I don't like about Shay is that she just co-signs on every single thing that Sienna's saying.
Yeah.
So, and Sienna's the type of person that I think she probably gets co-signed all the time.
Yeah, so she has a lot of enablers, I believe.
Yeah, we saw that with her girlfriend of 5 years, and then, of course, Sienna is notorious for spinning things as if she's the victim in the situation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so since she's already feeling some kind of way about the board comment, of course, she couldn't even help herself. Had to ask him, why you up here? Ain't you bored? Right? Had to bring it back up.
Right.
She couldn't even hold it for 30 seconds. That, unfortunately, just escalated into a whole other situation where she couldn't let go of the fact that Brandon ended up talking to Millie the night before. Of course, again, ignoring the fact that she was talking to Greg, right?
Yeah, but I feel like in this scene, she was more upset with Brandon not telling her what they were talking about. She was like, what were you talking about? Why can't you tell me what you were saying? Because Brandon said it was kind of private, which it wasn't private.
No, I agree. But the point that I'm making is it festers. Things fester with her. She could not let go of that. Even though it was last night, this was on her mind. And now she has to bring it out there.
Right.
And of course, she got so disrespectful. It's like she had to know what he said to Millie. When, first of all, that's a private conversation between him and Millie. Why is she assuming that it was something disrespectful? It was conversation.
I do feel like he could have just said, we were just talking about the situation that happened. I really wish he could have just said something.
I feel like that
was an innocent conversation.
I agree. It would have diffused the situation. Yeah. But again, you're feeding into a disrespectful person.
Yes,
requesting this information in a disrespectful manner.
Right.
At the end of the day, I thought about that. Maybe he should just say something. And I said, no. You know what? She is the type of woman that will start to talk like that, disrespect somebody, try to over argue you down until you do exactly what she's asking for. So I was actually really happy to see that he didn't do that. But we know what ended up coming from that. It got so bad that she was even telling him, get your foot off the damn bed.
My effing dad.
Yeah, pointing in his face. Very, very disrespectful. Yeah,
he couldn't even get a word in.
Right. Yeah, and she was pointing at his face. She was raising her voice. She was cursing at him. I don't know how much more disrespectful you can get.
Yeah, he was like, he couldn't even say anything. Even if he wanted to try to diffuse the situation, she wouldn't let him get a word in.
Nothing.
At all. She went in, get your foot off my effing bed, get the F. Like, she was going in. I was like, oh my gosh.
And by the way, even if he tried to answer the question, I don't know that he would have been able to, because she asked the question, doesn't even allow him to answer. If he starts to answer, she'll cut him off. There's no way you could have a positive dialogue dealing with a person like her.
Yeah.
So anyway, he heads downstairs.
All right, so Brandon walks downstairs because it's just too much upstairs for him. He cannot even get a word in with Sienna. So he's like, let me go downstairs. So he's downstairs and he's greeted by, what's his name? Chris. And he just kind of started telling him the story. But he said, he's kind of shaken up. He couldn't even process. So he said, he's trying to explain the story. But before we get there, let's just quickly talk about Sienna upstairs with Shay. Because Shay came back, she's cleaning up, and they're having a conversation. She's trying to find out what happened. And Sienna's basically saying, he was talking to Millie, and she doesn't have a problem with him talking to Millie. The main issue is, why can't you tell me what you said, what was said? She's like, obviously, I was talking ish about me.
Yeah, it must have been nasty.
It must have been nasty because you can't tell me what.
And we clearly know because we did see that conversation that it wasn't anything nasty.
It really wasn't.
But you know, Sienna is so insecure about. I mean, I can only imagine the number of things that she's insecure about. So she had to assume the negative. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So that's done. Right? They have that conversation, and again. What's her name? Shay is co-signing.
Yes.
Co-signing Sienna and what she has to say, agreeing with her and everything that she says. Nobody is putting Sienna in her place. Nobody. Yep. So then the camera pans back downstairs, and that's where they all try to talk about what went on. And, you know, honestly, as much as I'm not a fan of Chris, I think Chris gave the best advice to this situation. Everyone else is saying they should work hard, reset, do all this stuff. Chris was like, no, dead it. And that's the best advice you can give. These two people are not a match. They are not getting along. They don't even need therapy. So that question that said the couple that needs therapy, no. People that needs therapy, you can see they have a chance at making it work.
Right.
These people don't have a chance of making it work at all. She has no respect for him whatsoever. If anything, they need individual therapy, not couples therapy.
Absolutely. Like, from what I'm seeing right now, she specifically needs the therapy. Okay, because I'm not really seeing anything with Brandon, you know, that warrants some huge intervention.
Yes, I agree.
Certainly, he is a passive kind of guy. You know, I know he's trying to take the higher road. There's a way to make points, and I don't consider myself a confrontational, argumentative person, but make no mistake about it. When you overstep a boundary, you will be made aware of it in a very direct way. What's not going to happen is that I just keep exiting conversations.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
okay, that's considered passive in my opinion.
All
right? Now, will I make my point and then go back and forth with you trying to make counterpoints? No, absolutely because not. I know that this has digressed to a very dysfunctional situation, and I don't want to take part of it. Right. But you will leave that conversation knowing exactly where I stand on the matter.
Right, yes. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. But also Josh jumped in.
Yeah.
And, you know, not to discredit anything that he said, but he's making no sense. I mean, he's saying that he thinks Sienna actually still likes him, but, you know, she's a woman. Almost giving her a pass in a sense of thinking that he needs to kind of help her work through it. And I'm like, no. I mean, she there's nothing to work through. She has to work through this on her own.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. But let's kind of go back a little because there was a little cut scene in the middle where Millie and Greg was talking about them, and he said if they had sex or he put it down in the bedroom, it'll buy him 72 hours of peace. Another bad advice, immature thought process. Who wants only 72 hours of peace? If that's to me that's ridiculous.
You won't get 72 minutes of peace with Sienna.
Exactly.
I don't care whether sex or not. Okay. And, you know, what about Greg again bringing up sex? Like
sex will solve everything.
Has he not seen previous series where the person who's constantly bringing up sex, pressed for sex, thirsty for sex, obviously things don't work out.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm already getting, like, the sex thirstiness from Greg, and it came out again with just that comment.
Right. So to me, everyone is giving him horrible advice except Chris. Chris, the only one saying, "This ain't it. Dead it. Let it go."
And there's some irony there because actually there's should be some healthy, functional advice given to Chris about the things that he's doing now with Jody and the way he's dealing with Sandia.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's basically what happened. I don't know, y'all. Yeah. This show is definitely entertaining, like I said. But I don't think any of these people, just for the mere fact that they've been in a relationship and they're adults, first of all. I can see if they were teens, but they're adults. And they have not made their way to meet each other in person. That alone is a sign of dysfunction. I agree. So I think everyone here is a red flag. Every last person a red flag. Every last person is dysfunctional. And like I said, the show is entertaining, but I can't take anyone serious. How about you, baby?
I feel the exact same way. I thought that the healthiest seeming couple was Greg and Millie prior to this episode, but you know, clearly that's not moving in the right direction anymore as well. So I actually don't see. I mean, now I will say Aaron Senior and Diamond, they really seem to like one another. I haven't seen anything really dysfunctional in their interaction, but they are definitely messy and nosy.
Yeah, they're nosy, messy, all inside each other, all in other people's business. And another thing, like, dude, you were the one who proposed. Why y'all were in a relationship? Because they were the ones who said they were in a relationship. Why y'all in a relationship? You proposed to another woman, so that's dysfunction alone. So yes, they are dysfunctional. They kind of addressed the elephant in the room a little bit, but it's still messy for him to do something like that. Thank you so very much for tuning in, you guys. Don't forget to enter the never-ending giveaway that ends May 15th. The instructions, we will put them on the screen right now. Just make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video. You can gain additional entries by commenting on all our videos, liking all our videos. Every video you comment on, you get an additional entry. Go into our Instagram, TND won't shut up, TND.won't shut up on Instagram. Follow us. That's an additional entry. We'll do a drawing May 15th, and we'll let you know who the winner is of the $100 Amazon gift card. And that's basically it. Anything you want to add, babe?
Nothing.
All right,
Enjoy your week.
Enjoy your week. And on that note, TND is
out.
Ow. Bye, y'all.